Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update and all the physical releases coming to the Switch. We're in week 1 of August. Oh my god, August 3 until 7. Retail, low print and imports, plus our community spotlight where you show off your pickups and potentially win a physical Switch game. Before we jump in, once again I have to point out that I'm currently in between quite a lot of major dental surgery. It's even worse this week. Progress has been slow due to some complications, so forgive my narration this week and probably next week too. I did think about having this one with zero commentary, but I decided I would soldier on. Please forgive me, and if it's too terrible for you, then do let me know, and next week it will be zero commentary. Anyways, let's get on with it. Scully is getting a boxed copy this week. This looks like a cute little title, a puzzle platformer exploration game. You roll around like in a chilled 3D Sonic or something, and it looks pretty good. This is not something that's gonna set the world alight, but it could very well be a hidden gem on the system, that's for sure. I'm convinced, and we should have a review up for you on the website in the coming days, so be sure to head over to switchwatch.co.uk and follow our Twitter account so you don't miss that. Sadly, no video, at least nothing that's planned. And Scully is our executive producer, Brent McLean's pick of the week. Bandai in Europe are showing exactly why Bandai in Asia are so much better. Mr. Driller Drillland, the very recently released action puzzle game, is getting a physical release in Europe, but as a code in a box. Boo! Considering Japan, Hong Kong and Southeast Asia all got a boxed release with a proper cartridge and English to boot, this is not a good look. So yeah, if you ever see this in a store, just think that you could get a proper copy if you import. Spend a little more, but at least you get yours forever, and you can always recoup the cost if you choose to sell it on. If you want to import the proper version, then there are links below in the description and a little discount code to boot. Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon is finally seeing the light of day in the West. It previously had an English translation release in Asia, which is the one that I reviewed a long time ago. It was hilariously bad, the translation at least, but that's one of the main reasons that I enjoyed it so much. It elevated a pretty average game into something incredibly charming and enjoyable. Anyways, this is a simple dungeon crawler where you control 2 of the main protagonists from the anime. It has some visual novel elements in there too, and it's decent, although nothing truly special. There's a standard release as well as an incredible collector's edition from Rice Digital, where you can get a big booby pillowcase among some other lesser important things, because boobs win all. And if you're sad that you imported the Asian release rather than waiting for the better translated version, in my opinion, don't worry, because the Asian release is glorious, a piece of legendary translation artwork that you should be proud to have in your collection. And this is Gannicus and God of Resin's pick of the week. Instant Sports Summer Games. Now before you think you got deja vu or something, don't worry, you haven't. Last week we took a look at Summer Sports Games, which is totally not the same as Instant Sports Summer Games. However, they do have one thing in common. They look absolute bobbins. This one features only 11 sports compared to 12 in last week's release. Absolute disgrace. Although perhaps having less to play of this game may be a blessing in disguise. The Persistence released last week. Oddly enough, I did originally include it in my last week's episode, as you can see from my post to the SwitchWatch Legends asking for their pick of the week, but at the last minute I decided to delete it since the listing shifted. However, it soon came back and was announced for July 31st. This is a first-person horror roguelike, a very interesting combo. Check out Juan's review for more info on that. Now I just want to point out a mistake I made in last week's episode. I mentioned that Deliver Us the Moon was releasing physically on the Switch. That was the info I was going off, given to me by the publisher a few weeks ago. But sadly the Switch version was cancelled without me seeing it. Apologies for getting your hopes up about that. I don't have a whole lot of time to put these together and fully check into every single game, so sorry for that. I do try though. Alright, let's jump into the low print releases. Grandia HD is being put out for pre-order by Limited Run Games. They strove long and hard to get the chance to publish this one, and although I would have preferred a normal retail release over Limited Run, I am happy to see it release. In here you get 2 downright classic JRPGs in one package, nicely ported to the Switch, I think. Yeah, it's quite an unambitious package in terms of extras or additions, but don't repair what ain't broke. Sadly, Limited Run know that this is quite a big one and are grabbing your wallets by the balls. Apparently this is not their usual $30, but actually $55 plus international shipping, and you got me liking limited run even less. If this was standard retail, it would be far more accessible and cheaper, but it is what it is. Grandia HD Collection is Jonathan Rumor and Dane Wilkinson's pick of the week. Let's jump into the imports this week. Just remember that if any take your fancy and you'd like to import them for yourself, then there are imports links below in the description and the pinned comment. It helps support this little series especially. It wouldn't be what it is today without you guys and your support. So thank you for using our links. Plus, in return, if you use our links, you can get 5% off your order if you use the coupon code SwitchWatchTV while checking out. That's all one word, SwitchWatchTV, while checking out for 5% off your order. Just a quick update on a game that I mentioned last week. Buried Stars seemed like it was an almost impossibility due to not being sold outside of South Korea, at least anywhere I could find. However, it looks like PlayAsia finally did get a hold of some copies of this mystery adventure game. Only the standard edition, not the awesome collector's edition, but considering it has English, I'll take it. If you were disappointed about missing out last week, there are links below for your chance. It says it's sold out, but don't worry, it just means that they're making sure that they have enough stock before putting it back on sale again. They do intend to have it back up if it's not already by the time this episode goes out. Alright, this week, one of the most interesting imports of the year so far is that of the Coma Double Cut, a double pack of horror survival games that's getting an exclusive physical release in Japan together, at least at the time of writing. The first game was already released physically over here, I have it myself, but the second game, which is much better by the way, is only available physically with this import. And there is English on the cartridge. Wonderful! I reviewed both, and while I had problems with the first game, I really quite enjoyed the second, as it answered most of the problems I had. You're getting decent value here, plus some really cool artwork. Not essential, but definitely one to consider for the collection. La Mulana 1 and 2 is getting a double pack release in Japan like it did here already. Not much to say about this one, even though it does look a nice package, there's no English included, oddly enough. Alright, let's jump into the Let's Get Physical spotlight where you show off your pickups, and if you're featured, then at the end of the month you'll be in the draw to win a physical Switch game. Last month we gave away Splasher to Chris Hepburn. Hopefully it's well on its way to Canada by now. This month's prize is still unknown, I need to give it a good think. Firstly, me. Now, I was absolutely delighted to find the Shmup collection here in China. Against all odds, I was browsing Taobao and it just popped up almost as though it knew I was looking for it. This is the Japanese cover variant, which I personally think is the coolest of the three available. This is available on Pixel Heart's website, along with the European version. I know Juan's will be waiting for him once he gets back off holiday. The US version is on its way soon, also has a different cover. If you want to pre-order that, you can do so exclusively at vgny.com. In here you get 3 very enjoyable shooters, all of which play very differently to each other and rank amongst my favourite shooters available on the Switch. They don't do anything groundbreaking, but they sure as hell know what makes a good shooter. Highly recommended by myself. Rich Bergen sent in this photo of a very recent game in Rock of Ages. Plus, I have to say that I love the artwork for Away right at the top. It's just so damn colourful and impactful. Big N sent in this picture including the recent Shmup collection, the European variant from Pixel Heart. Also nice to see Wargroove. I think the success of this should show Nintendo that Advance Wars would still be a relevant game today, even if they passed it onto an indie studio. Kazahard showed off this photo with his recent pickups including number 102, which is Little Busters, one of the finest visual novels that you can get on the Switch. You can import this one from Japan, and you may very well want to since it does have English. Also, loving that Secret of Mana series art book, I would love to see inside that. Choco Loco Janes went first party crazy with this wonderful looking picture showing off some very essential Switch games. I still maintain that Luigi's Mansion 3 was the best Switch game of last year. Spawn 7 got in Streets of Rage 4, as well as Shadowbug, looking rather elegant indeed. Interesting choice for a box game. Rebecca Hudson picked up the It'll Do Collector's Edition from One Print Games, plus a recent release from last week, Cat Quest Pawsome Pack. Ragtag sent in a couple of pictures with an epic haul from PlayAsia, some absolute essential imports. Honestly, I would recommend every single one of them if you're looking to start importing. Especially Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, that definitely needs a lot more love in the world. Also, many thanks for using our links and codes, we massively appreciate it. Carl Goody got in an interesting selection of games, so much variety here, including a nice little gem in Hell Warders. Matt Lennox sent in this photo of 3 AAA Switch games that they picked up, pretty much games everyone should own. Although to be fair, Skyrim is on everything, so maybe you don't need that one on Switch. Chuck Taylor's picked up an interesting shmup in Aces of the Luftwaffe. I have to be honest, I've not played this one, but I'm always up for a good shooter. Craig Morgan sent in these 2 games that couldn't be any further apart in terms of quality. I mean, actually, I don't know how good Battle Crashers is, but the publisher never gives me confidence. Any opinions on this one? Neverbirth picked up this limited run release of Golf Story. I like the artwork enough, but I have to go with the Japanese version if I'm being honest. Visipon got a Nurse Love Obsession, which I believe is a double pack of visual novel games. This was distributed by Limited Run, perhaps was one of their pricier titles, but I know Visipon loves a good visual novel. MMO Hasa sent in this photo of Danmachi the Collector's Edition, the Asian one, which was stuck in delivery for months, only to turn up a week before the Western release. Fear not, as I said, this is a legendary edition of the game. Mad Bad sent in this picture showing a couple of greats. I absolutely love the Pato Box Collector's Edition, so glad I have that one, plus some retro titles brought back to life in Sonic Mania and Toe Jam and Earl. What century are we in? Gerald Gonzalez picked up My Girlfriend is a Mermaid! One of my favorite game titles that makes this import worth it alone. It's from the same company as The Fox Awaits Me and Panty Party, shares similar style, and this physical is exclusive to Japan and has English on the cartridge, an import that's often overlooked. Samuel Robinson got in Myst from Limited Run, and as a celebration, he got all his Myst stuff out to show. The only one that I've ever had is Myst 3 Exile, which looked absolutely beautiful at the time on my PlayStation 2, but I was just way too dumb to play it. I had no idea what's going on. Corey Graham sent in this Eye Dazzler, an impressive collection of games. I mean, where do you even look? Maybe to point out Poi there on the left, a simple 3D platformer that tries its most sincere to be a Mario 64 game. It is cute, obviously nowhere near as good, but it's still a nice little effort. Chris from Cali sent in 2 pictures this week, including some great collector's editions like Rune Factory 4 Special and AI, plus an obscure import in Summer Pockets. Supposedly pretty good visual novel, but there's no English, as far as I'm aware. Punky Dooster allowed us inside his card case once again to see some nice retro-style goodness. Dragon's Lair Trilogy is a game that I would definitely have bought had it been more readily available for me. Mansfield Bear sent in a few pictures this week, firstly of some pickups including Red Art Games, thanks to the recent sale that they had, looking very nice, plus they got in Void, Terrarium and ARMS. Captain Slow picked up an import for him. Dragon's Dogma did not get a physical release in Europe, sadly, which is a pity because it's a bloody great game. Worth it for Europeans to pick up this US version or the Japanese version, which has a mini collector's edition. Did you know that? Mike NH88 sent in this beautiful looking Gunlord X, a great arcade style turrican game which I highly recommend to everyone. Sadly, this was pretty limited from the publisher's website. Our executive producer Gannicus fell very much in love with Arcade Spirits. This is a visual novel that he double dipped physically after already having it digitally. That's how good it must have been. Speaking of visual novels, Champ Dancer was happy to show off the Day 1 edition of Raging Loop, although saying that I don't think there are any other editions, only this one. Still, supposedly pretty good. Our executive producer God of Resin picked up these 4 great games, including the Sublime Transistor from Limited Run. I recently started to play this digitally and I'm really enjoying what I've played so far. Mr. Valgard got in a double dose of spiky dudes with the very new Fairy Tail and the very old Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Raven Knight sent in this photo showing off a few recent games. Man, I wish all games came with a map. I remember having like the GTA games back in the day. That map was so damn useful. Robert sent in these games, who also seemed to get some red arts during the sale, and Void Terrarium. Honestly, I am curious, did you guys pick this up because of my unboxing, or because of Alex's review, or just on your own accord? I'd like to know. Derek Jenkins sent in a good looking photo of Catherine plus the guild box of Fairy Tail, which until now I had no idea existed. Thanks. Our very own Alex sent in this picture of his backer reward of Wonderful 101. Y'all still pissed about that Kickstarter? On a trip, Marty Mar picks up these fine releases, a couple of Turoks and I Am Setsuna, which is an import exclusive, as I'm sure you know by now. A fun RPG that was one of the very early stars on the import scene. Bunny Voidstrom sent in this picture of some lesser known titles, including the Opus Collection, which is often found pretty cheap here in China, and I've had my finger hover over the buy button so many times. Maybe one day. It looks quite lovely. Bounty sent in these games to show off what a fan of Pokemon that they are. My only question is, where is the damn Pokeball controller? Remember that? Santa Tartaruga showed off these amazing physical Switch import exclusives. Phoenix Wright Trilogy, Okami with its glorious reversible cover, and the Japanese Super Robot Wars X, which does have English. Bruno Silva was enjoying his vacation but couldn't help pick up this slightly obscure release in Steins Gate. Supposedly good, right? I don't know, Steins Gate, Code Realize, I get those two mixed up all the time. Agu showed off his culture with Gun Gun Pixies mini collector's edition from P-Cube. I mean, I go many places, but I don't go here, at least not publicly. Kinda got in a couple of games this week with Little Town Hero and XCOM Collection. Man, I definitely pick up XCOM if the download wasn't so massive. It would take me like a week to download it. He was also nice enough to unbox Little Town Hero for y'all. Adam J got in the wonderful Dusk Diver. I'm a failure of a human being for not picking this up physically, even though it was one of my top games of last year. Ike took me back to the early 90s with the Street Fighter collection and an incredible looking fighting stick. Michael Wielczewski sent in this photo are some great games with some nice soundtracks included. Honestly, one of the few great things about modern gaming is the soundtrack CDs that often come with games. Back in the day, a game soundtrack seemed like a mythical thing unless you lived in Japan. Joel Parker finally jumped on board with Paper Mario. You did it quicker than me. Jean picked up the Cat Quest double pack, but seemed more excited to show off his coupon for HelloFresh. I wonder if they worked there. Chris Stage sent in these games, including the brand new Fairy Tail. I'm sure I'll see even more of these next week. Our executive producer Brent McLean sent in these games, Void Terrarium once again, plus nice to see some Destiny Connect in there too. And finally, to end the show, we have Fluttershout, who finally got their hands on Void Terrarium. I'm so happy to see this so much. I just want to know why I'm seeing it so much. Alright, thanks ladies and gents. It's always fantastic to see what you got. Send me your pictures on Twitter over at SoWhatAboutGame. You can DM me so I can keep track of it, or you can tag me and use the hashtag Let'sGetPhysical, and I'll give you a nice little retweet. Or you can email it into me at contactors@switchwatch.co.uk. Just make sure you start the email title with Community Spotlight so I don't miss it. Plus, we have a Discord, which is a nice way for us to have a chat. Plus, you can send your pictures in there in the submission section. Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of New Physicals. I'm really sorry about my voice. I know it's really horrendous and terrible, but hopefully in a couple of weeks it will be sorted. If you didn't like it, if you really hated it, then please do let me know honestly. And next week, when I still can't speak, I will make it commentary free. It'll just be like trailers and stuff. Anyway, special thanks if you're watching all the way here. If you did, that means the world to me. It helps out so much if you watch all the video. And special thanks to our executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Jonathan Rumo, and Gannicus, and all the other YouTube members that we have. Thank you so much for supporting us. Please check out last week's episode in case you missed it, and we'll see you guys over there. Take care.